Hi, this is Tom Fulmer and welcome to the National Drug Screening Video Blog Series. The topic of this 5-part series is going to be Designated Employer Representative Training, also known as DER. It also may be referenced as Drug and Alcohol Program Manager. The 5 parts of this series are going to focus on 1, the selection of service agents and their roles in assisting you in managing your testing program. Number 2, development of your drug-free workplace policy and distribution to your employees and to your supervisors. Then the 3rd part will be focused on implementation of the actual training necessary for supervisors in the drug testing process. Part 4 is going to focus on the management of drug and alcohol testing, the requirements, things you must do, things you must not do in that part of the process. And then Part 5 is going to discuss accurate record keeping, maintenance of records, and also what to do in the case of audit situations. Welcome to part 5 of our video blog series on Designated Employer Representative Training, or DER as it's known in the industry. Today we're going to be talking about record keeping requirements and what to do in the case of an audit. Now, record keeping requirements do vary depending on what the modality is. In fact, if you can see here, these are the ones for Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And you have certain requirements that have to keep records for 5 years, some for 2 years, some for 1 year. For instance, a positive drug test results is going to need to be kept for 5 years. A negative, maybe 1 year. There's also different regulations for different modes, as I mentioned, and if you look in the description below this video, you'll see a link to the record keeping requirements for each of the modes just to make it easy for you to find as a DER and help you do your job more effectively. Now, if you've not completed a Designated Employer Representative Training, you have 4 different parts preceding this one that'll give you a good overview of what's covered, as well as some very good information. So make sure that you go out and do that training. It's not required. However, it's highly recommended if you want to be compliant with your drug testing. Now, in addition to record keeping, one thing you need to be aware of, that drug and alcohol testing results should be kept separate from personnel files. They should be completely secured, not in an open file cabinet sitting in an office. The auditors, when they come in, they're not going to like that. And for instance, if you're a federal motor carrier and you're opening a new motor carrier business, you're definitely going to have a new entrant audit within the first 18 months. You've got specific things that you must do, such as supervisor training, and you have to keep documentation of that and be able to provide that. You have to be able to show the negative test results for the pre-employment tests for any employees that you hire. You have to show previous records checks that you've done or made every attempt to do. Those are all things that must be done. They're also going to look for your random testing records to make sure that you've actually done the random selections, you've completed the test when you were supposed to do that. And for any test which a negative result was required, you're going to have to be able to produce that depending on the situation. One other thing in record keeping that sometimes DERs kind of forget or overlook or think their TPAs are handling for them is the custody and control forms. Remember, no matter who is helping you, as an employer, you're the one ultimately responsible. So when you get that custody and control form, whether it's digitally, a fax copy, a mailed copy, you need to look through that form to make sure it's complete and accurate. Because I guarantee you, if you get an audit, the auditor's going to be looking at that and they're going to ask you why you didn't check this, how you missed that. And anytime an auditor comes in and they find one mistake, they're going to ask for more information. And if they find multiple mistakes, they're going to keep digging and keep digging and keep digging. And ultimately, that's going to lead to probably a not so good position for you as an employer. So make sure that you're following all of those steps, following all of those requirements necessary. One key thing too, when you ever get an audit, it's very important that you have a pre-audit plan in place to get everything ready for that. And that means either you've done your own mock audit and gone through and gotten everything ready and know that all of your ducks are in a row, so to speak. Or if you're working with a TPA or third-party administrator, that you've gone through and done that with them or have them to be able to help you. And the big thing with audits, most of the time you're going to get notice. Don't wait till the last minute to try to get things in order. If you get an audit notice, you're working with a TPA, for instance, or consultant or any other service agent, reach out to them with whatever part is relevant to them and get them to help you immediately. Send that audit letter. Say, hey, can you help me get all these things together? Can you show me my selection report? Can you show me who was selected during period 1, period 2, or period 3? And have those results ready to go. When the auditor comes in, you want to have a set of documents to be able to say, here's everything you've asked for, and you want to have it to be accurate and correct and easily accessible. Another thing with your records, if you're keeping them electronically, they should be able to be accessed easily because the auditor may ask for additional information. If you're keeping them in a paper form, they need to again be secured in a separate location. The auditor is probably going to ask for that or notice that they're not if they're not stored correctly. So these are all parts of the record keeping requirements, how to be ready for an audit that a DER has to be knowledgeable about and has to be ready to handle. So make sure you go through and look at the record keeping requirements for your mode or multiple modes if you're regulated by more than one. Look in the description below, you'll have some more details and some links. And best of all, if you haven't done DER training, make sure you take a DER training course that goes into depth, hopefully focused specifically in the mode that regulates you. That way you're gonna have the most accurate information and the most applicable information to your day-to-day operations. So thanks for joining us on this DER training, and find more great training videos on everything drug testing related on our blog at www.nationaldrugscreening.com. We'll see you on the next video series.